Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well and welcome back to Pushing Film. So there's a lot of great film YouTube channels out there, a lot that I admire that I've mentioned before in some of my previous videos. And one of those channels that I've mentioned before is Grainydays, which is a channel run by Jason Kummerfeldt, who is based in Los Angeles, California. He has a great channel with sort of a dark comedy twist to it. I would describe his humor as sort of like a dry and dark humor, and he really integrates that well into his channel. I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably heard of it. If you haven't, I definitely suggest checking it out. So recently I was lucky enough to have a chat with Jason over a Zoom meeting, and this video is about sharing that chat with you guys. So sit back, enjoy the chat, and I'll catch you again afterwards. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm here to chat with Jason from the YouTube channel Grainydays, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know about.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it from the other side of the planet.
Hey Jason, thanks for coming on, man. So just to give everyone a bit of a background into yourself, I'm sure a lot of them do know about your channel and watch your stuff, but you're based in California, correct?
Yeah, I'm based in Los Angeles, California. Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong or anything else on my little background research that I've done on you here, but you have a background in filmmaking, especially supposedly making short films before you got into photography. And you often blame a guy named Caleb for getting you into shooting film some time
Yeah, it's
ago.
his fault. He ruined my life for sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I have a history in short films, an ancient history, I'd say. I haven't done that in very, very long time. But yeah, going back to Caleb, yeah, he's the guy he's a good friend of mine. He's in a lot of my videos. He has his own channel.
Yeah.
He introduced me to film. He has been shooting it for longer than I have, and I kind of picked it up as like a hobby because he did it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you started the YouTube channel about a year ago, is that right?
I think it's probably almost 2 years ago now at this point.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
I think the first video I saw, it was one of your earlier ones. It was when you did the 2-week trip to Nepal.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite videos for sure.
Yeah.
That trip was so awesome. Yeah. I think a lot of those photos, especially the film photos, are some of my favorites I've ever taken.
Nice. And with starting the channel, I feel like just in what we chatted about before hitting record, you started your channel in a similar vein to what I did, not with any intention to kind of get out and become a big YouTuber or to make money or anything like that, but it was more out of a creative rut, you said, and almost out of boredom and wanting to just do something and without any expectation. Is that right?
Yeah. I was at a job and I kind of felt it was one of those jobs where the supervisors made all the decisions and I was just the guy pushing the buttons. And I kind of felt a creative gap in my life, and I just wanted something that I could call mine, something that I had full creative control over. So I saw all these people, your channel included, like Willem and negative feedback and stuff like that. Like, oh, these guys are doing this weird hybrid thing of like a YouTube film photography thing. This is kind of cool. And I had reached a point where I'd just seen every video there was on film photography, I think, on YouTube. And I was like, well, I can give it a shot. And I kind of told myself, I'll try it for a year. If it doesn't really go anywhere, then, I'll just decide what to do next then. And yeah, I think ultimately I started it because I wanted to get closer. I was shooting a lot of film at the time, and I just wanted to get closer to the film community a little bit. I wanted to have a little more of a conversation.
So it was like, I want to be part of that. I want to be part of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Dynamic.
Yeah.
I relate to that because when I started it with my friend Nick, we used to watch Matt Day, obviously. I mean, I feel like he's kind of... and, it's funny how Joe Greer or someone calls him Father Day because he has that status in the hierarchy of like, guys who started a lot of this, but...
He's like the man.
Yeah, he is.
He's the one.
But there was him, and there was Ted Forbes, because at the time it was 3 or 4 years ago when we decided to start the channel, and it was a really slow burn start for us. But Ted Forbes and an older guy named John Free, he's a great photographer based over there, I think, in California as well. But we used to really watch every single one of their videos and thought that would be so cool to do that. There's no Australian channels, and now like film is so extremely popular. And it feels like we're part of this massive community.
Yeah. Has the film community just like grown since you started this channel?
Uh,
Like
yeah,
significantly?
yeah,
Yeah.
both here and overseas, as far as I can see. But definitely,
Yeah.
you know, the city I live in here in Melbourne is one of the places where it's most popular to do things like shoot film and do anything alternative, really, in the
Okay.
context of other cities in Australia. Because we also have a lot of labs. It's a very, you know, creative hub. It's a very multicultural city. So, yeah,
Okay.
definitely here in Melbourne. But anyway, one of the first questions I had on my little list of things to go through here was, how is Baxter,
You mean the star of the channel?
the star of the channel? No one really cares
uh
about you, but you know he can't speak, so at least we got someone on screen.
Baxter's good. He's just we just walked him. He's in the other room right now. He's probably sleeping. He sleeps 80% of his existence away. So
Yeah, man, I love that
that's,
episode that you did, just sort of dedicated to him and his backstory and all
yeah.
that. That was really,
Yeah.
really touching.
I
So
was looking for I was like sorry, I was looking for episodes where
yeah,
I could just do pretty easily while we're in like lockdown and
yeah,
stuff, where I don't have to go out or whatever. So that came to mind. Yeah, that's all.
absolutely. Uh, Give us a picture of what daily life is there like over there at the moment. You know, with everything that's going on with the world situation
Hmm.
for you and your partner and Baxter.
Yeah. Well, so I'm on hiatus from work right now, but I don't. Hopefully, they've been telling us we're gonna go back soon. We'll see if that happens. The U.S. has kind of been a hub for this pandemic. It seems worse than some other countries. For life for me, like I told you before, we started recording. I'm a pretty big introvert, so I pretty much just stay home all day and I'll browse the web and I do a lot of camera research, of course, and I watch a lot of YouTube videos. Pretty much anyone that uploads anything, I'm right there on the front line. What do I do? I don't do a lot, man. I don't do a whole lot. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'll play some video games. These past 2 days I've been packing and I've been editing a lot. I've just finished I think the video is like 16 minutes long, but it's up there,
Nice.
So I guess just editing takes up most of my time.
Oh, dude, tell me about it. And that's something I was going to talk to you about later because we already mentioned it. That video that you did in Nepal, the first one of yours that I watched, the first thing I thought of is like, holy shit, that would have taken a lot of effort, not only to shoot, but to put together. And then you had the film photos and the digital photos and structuring it. And you seem to have collected footage along in many parts of that trip, because your trip there was a lot longer than mine. I did a trip there too and also made a vlog. But
how long were you there for?
Well, I was there for only like 1 week and maybe 10 days actually. But I already knew how much hard work it was just putting all that footage together and making that video. How hard is it for you? Like, how do you find making those travel vlogs in terms of the workload that goes into making them and editing them?
It's the editing, 100%. It takes like 3 full days of editing for me to like finish a video, but that's full days, not just like an hour here and an hour there.
Yeah.
It's a ton of work, and I'm not sure a lot of people realize is that the editing is where the like magic happens, I think.
Yeah.
In terms of Nepal, the Nepal video, that was kind of easy because right when I got back, I got really sick from just like putting my body through stress of the hike and stuff, and probably some other things, I'm not sure. But I had to stay home anyway. I was just like in a really bad shape, so I was like, well, I'm home. I have all this footage. I might as well organize it and start chopping something together. So I started putting that together. And like I told you before, that's one of my favorite videos, probably because that's one of my favorite experiences in life, I think. Yeah.
Nice. Well, good to hear that things aren't too crazy over there, because like I mentioned to you before, it's very much the same here, if not worse, with how strict they've gotten, and we can't. I'm also not really able to do much work, and we're only allowed like an hour out to exercise, and you have to wear a mask, and they actually go around giving fines and stuff. So it's a little bit extreme, but hopefully all this will be over sooner than later, and it becomes just. That's
crazy. I've heard about the fines, but we don't have any of that here.
Yeah, it's weird because even though you say that the US might be like an epicenter or doing really badly. It's not necessarily true, because sometimes it's just the perspective of the people on how they're dealing with it, and the way people interpret numbers and the situation. But yeah, let's talk about something more interesting, which because you have that background in filmmaking, I'm also a massive movie buff, so I thought we could talk a little bit about that before we move on to things like YouTube and film photography. But I feel like film and photography, film, go hand in hand because of that sort of crossover of inspiration. I often find myself being inspired by the movies I love, whether it's in the color grading or the editing or the way they compose, and that probably subconsciously, influences the way I shoot. What are some of your top movie recommendations, especially for something like smaller, lesser known films that you could recommend that I may not have seen, or the viewers for that matter?
Well, I guess you gotta fill me in. Like, what are some of your favorite movies?
All right, so like we're talking about something lesser known and not so mainstream. You could think, have you seen a movie called Paris, Texas?
Oh, you know what? I guess it's a funny story. I started not a book club with some friends where we just watch movies and talk about it instead of read a book. And that's one of the movies I'm going to recommend to watch because I haven't seen it yet. And just a ton of people have hit me with that because apparently the director is inspired pretty heavily. Wim Wenders. Yeah. He's inspired pretty heavily by Edward Hopper, who's like one of my, he's like a god to me. So,
yes.
I've seen some stills from that movie and it's just so goddamn beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's one of your favorites?
You'll love it. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not, I don't know if it's one of my, I have so many that I struggle to really pull something from the list, but there's even some like, stupid stuff like Repo Man, like these cult classics, stuff like that. And
have you seen About Time?
Yeah. See, stuff like that.
That is a really good movie.
Yeah, or things by, Denis Villeneuve or...
Yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Have you seen Annihilation? I'm reading from a list here.
I have seen
my
Annihilation.
Favorites.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that.
That's one of my favorites.
All right. What about... So, in terms of... Because you talked a little bit about Wim Wenders and Edward Hopper. Is it Dennis Hopper or Edward Hopper? I keep mixing those two
Edward
guys
Hopper,
up. Edward
the
Hopper.
painter, yeah.
He's the one who did Nighthawks, right?
Yes. That's his, I think that's his most famous one.
Yeah. Because Wim Wenders in that movie has a very strong color palette and like very bold, use of color, especially in the night shots, which I think you'd love. But I often draw inspiration from the color grading in movies like that, and especially things like, No Country for Old Men. Mm-hmm. It's got that desert pastel sort of look to it. Do you have any movies that you kind of look at for the color mainly and draw inspiration from that?
I was recently watching Sicario.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that one. And some of the shots in there, I don't know if it's the coloring or if it's just the cinematography, but there's something about it that some of the shots are just really moody. Mm-hmm. And I was watching it and thinking, like, this is a violent, really dark film.
It is.
I was watching it and thinking, I should move to Texas where it takes place. This is kind of like cool. It puts me in a mood. Yeah, that's the one that comes to mind right now, for sure.
Another good one is Bad Times at the El Royale. That was something I saw pretty recently. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I did see that one, yeah.
See, that was Kodak Vision 500T, and it has that really nice saturation and the retro sort of color palette. Nice.
Oh, man. No, there's one on the tip of my tongue. What is it? Did you see Mother?
With the robot thing?
No, it's that was
I Am
Aronofsky.
Darren Aronofsky.
Darren Aronofsky, yeah. It's a pretty crazy movie, but it was shot on 16, and I think the colors in that movie are incredible.
Okay, I don't think I've seen that. I'll check that out.
Yeah, you're either gonna like it or definitely not like it.
I know he does some weird shit, so
yeah.
We'll see how we go. All right, so next thing I wanted to talk about is that with your channel, anyone who's familiar with watching Grainydays, it has a very strong element of humor in the channel. So to me, it really seems to be like an extension of your own personality, or what's in there, rather than being some kind of like facade or character that you put on purely for the sake of the channel. It's something that's definitely in there. How do you sort of relate that aspect of comedy into your videos, and is it something that like anyone who knows you would be like, yeah, that's Jason, that's that's his style of humor?
If that was an extension of my personality, I think people would think I'm a really sick, twisted, and dark individual. There's some pretty crazy, depraved jokes I think I tell
Yeah,
sometimes. But
if they know you're joking though.
yeah. It started off as just like jokes. I don't know. It started off as like I would throw in a joke every once in a while, and it was just a joke about the situation. It was something that actually did happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's kind of evolved into like stand-up comedy a little bit, where it's like stand-up comics aren't when they're on stage, they're not playing a character per se, and like their stories aren't necessarily true either, but they're kind of based in reality to some degree, I guess I should say. So it's kind of like that. Not like, obviously, I think I made a joke about in one of my videos, maybe it hasn't come out yet, but about how like my grandmother ran over me with her car or something like that.
Yeah, very dark.
And like that never happened. But it's like it's kind of a funny image,
Yeah. Well, so that's what I appreciate.
Yeah, it's kind of turned into a little bit of a character, but I'd say it's ultimately like stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
At this point.
Do you have any background doing stand-up? I actually wondered that. Like, have you ever done a stand-up bit?
No, I'm too scared.
Yeah.
I'm too scared of talking to audiences, I think.
Funny.
Which is weird because, YouTube.
I think of Saturday Night Live sketches and things like that. And obviously, between Two Ferns, because you've done that was it just one video you did with Christine Bartolucci? Have you done any other?
I've done two. I've done two. Yeah, I did one with Caleb, and then I did one with Christine.
Yeah.
I want to do another. I have another one ready, but it's kind of hard with the pandemic.
Right.
I was thinking maybe I'd do it over like Zoom or something, but you wouldn't really get the true reaction.
Yeah, because when you're sitting there in front of people, you can sense that awkwardness between them in the room when they're staring at each other.
Yeah.
And I actually wondered that, but I think it would be something that would work better in person.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, I mean, you roasted her bad, man. What did she do to deserve that kind of treatment?
She was a really good sport about it. I told her beforehand like what to expect and stuff. And she was totally on board. I think she did a great job.
Yeah. Oh, she really did, man. She was great. And she actually sort of like played into it a little bit. Like she leaned into it, and I thought that was really good. But at the same time, it almost seemed like you caught her by surprise with some of the stuff. And she was actually like, oh my God, how could you say that? Oh.
That's the goal, that's the goal of being an interview and an awkward interview.
Yeah.
So.
Nice. Well, I hope you do more of that stuff, because I really enjoyed that one. And I mean, sometimes I look at your comedy, and I mean, you remind me of like a young Chevy Chase or something like that.
Okay.
Is he your dad?
I'm not familiar.
He's American too, so just
is Chevy Chase my dad? Yeah. Could be.
Oh man. Yeah, he's he's apparently really hard to work with in his older age with things like Community, I've heard.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah.
All right, so you recently did a video shooting 8x10. I had a little, chat to you about that before, but for anyone watching who hasn't seen it, Jason made the transition into shooting 8x10 for the first time, and I'm pretty sure you skipped right over 4x5. Is that true?
Yeah, I said screw it. I'm going big or going home.
Yeah, and you had this amazingly produced video with great music, and another video that looks like a lot of work went into the editing and shooting for. What made you skip straight over 4x5 and make that decision to pull the trigger on getting a freaking 8x10 camera?
So I think it was a few things, and it was a very strange kind of situation. I had I still have it. It's a 2x3, because I guess they used to do 2x3 sheet film, which is pretty small. It's basically medium format size. So now they sell them with medium format backs. I had one of those, still have it, and I shot with that a lot, and that's where I kind of learned rise and tilt and swing and all basically what goes into shooting large format, but I was shooting medium format, and I enjoyed the process a lot. I wasn't too thrilled that I was shooting like 6x9 on medium format. If I was going to go through the whole process, I wanted to do something bigger. So I started looking into 4x5, of course, and then I started following this channel called Ben Horn, or the guy who does 8x10, Ben Horn.
Yep.
And he's just a total beast at shooting 8x10.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought, well, you know, I could get into 4x5, but I know if I do, I'm just going to end up selling the gear for it in a year or two and just upgrading to 8x10 because, you know, I want the resolution. I want the sheer crisp perfection of 8x10. I want that challenge. That's like the ultimate challenge for me. So I kind of just jumped straight over 4x5 and just went straight for 8x10, figuring I was going to save some time for myself.
Nice.
By doing that, if that makes sense. It's kind of a weird transition, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like go large or go home kind of thing.
Yeah.
Were there any other photographers you admired who shoot 8x10? Because I know there's quite a few guys out there, you know, making amazing work on 8x10, but yet the names are not coming to my mind. Is there anyone else besides Ben Horn?
Yeah, Alan Brock. He has a YouTube channel. It's mostly people who do it for YouTube. I'm not super familiar with 8x10, any 8x10 photographers, but yeah, Alan Brock is a good one. And then he did 4x5 though, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was 4x5.
There was a guy who was interviewed. I watched an interview on YouTube, and I feel like he's pretty well known. I hadn't heard of him yet, but he goes around the country doing things like portraits, like environmental portraits on 8x10, and puts it into photo books. And I feel like he was on one of those interviews, like maybe Cine Still or something like that. And yeah, I mean,
yeah,
there was one
Alec or something.
Yeah,
Alec.
yeah, and he had a photo of a guy, you know, scaling a fish with a newspaper.
Yeah,
and it was amazing.
Alex Soth.
Alex Soth. Yeah, he's really well known. I just hadn't discovered it until recently. You've seen his work, I take it.
I've seen a few. Yeah, I haven't really done a deep dive into him yet. That's something I should do for sure.
Are you big into portraiture? Do you want to do more portrait work? I
want to be into it.
Yeah,
you know, but I just don't really find myself gravitating towards it. I kind of like the solitariness of shooting landscape or I don't know, shooting. I don't know how to define my work really, but I guess it's landscape or like architectural or urban, documentative. Yeah. I haven't really been into portraits, but I'd love to do a project on that maybe someday.
Well, it could be cool now that you have the camera. All right. So what have I got yet? Next one I have, this is a bit of a tangent. Can you do an Australian accent?
Oh, I'm not even going to try. You're going to be so offended.
Do it. This is the part of the point of it. I'm sure you've done one before.
I have, and I thought I nailed it at the time, but I was plastered. I was really, really drunk.
I love hearing people's attempts.
Maybe next time, if I get really, really drunk, can you do an American accent?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how great it is, but all right, let's you can try it. We can do an accent swap. All right. I'll move down to one of the next things I have, which is, all right, so
man, just say something that you think an American person would say. I won't be offended.
That's what I find hard. That's why I need some kind of cue, like you tell me, talk about, you know, film or portrait, whatever. All right, so let's say if you could create the ideal film stock, what would it look like? Like let's say you can combine portrait with whatever to make something that you'd be happy with shooting for forever, and you can take all the different characteristics of all these different films and create something that you would want to shoot, put it in your camera every day.
That was pretty good.
Is that all right?
I won't let it. Yeah, there was like the double O. You know, when you said shoot, you said it kind of Australian-y, but otherwise like pretty shoot.
And see, we say and see, it's really hard because you have to think about the subtleties. All right, so now you can answer the question with your best Aussie accent, mate.
No, I'll try one sentence in an Australian accent.
Here we go.
Oi, let's go down to the Outback and throw some shrimp on the bobby.
Oh, good.
And drink a shoey.
Yeah, you got some vernacular. You got oi. Like you could just start any sentence off with oi. What? Just try like oi. What are you doing?
Oi, what are you doing?
What the bloody hell are you doing?
What the bloody hell are you doing? That's actually kind of like a English.
Dude, that's a lot better than a lot of known actors who've attempted Australian accents in movies that I've seen. Yeah.
I have a really good friend who's Australian, but he hasn't lived there in a while, so his accent's kind of...
That's cheating.
Yeah.
Well, you did better than Zac Efron in that movie where he tried to... Actually, he was all right. But yeah, I can't think of other bad examples.
I guess I'll have to get into acting.
Yeah, you should, man. I think you have a knack for it because of your stage presence and that comedy background. Like, you should at the very least do some stand-up comedy, I think.
Have you ever tried an American accent before this?
Yeah, I'm sure I have. Like, just messing around with friends and all that. Because, for us, we watch American movies and and shows, and we have that sort of dialogue in our mind.
Yeah,
a lot more.
Do you have a lot of any good Australian movies I should check out?
Ooh.
Or New Zealand? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a few. There's some movies that I feel like they're an Australian production that, or I'm not sure if they actually produced in Australia. Like, one of the ones I watched recently is called Lion, like the animal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, that was made a couple of years ago, I think, right?
Yeah,
or am I thinking of
maybe 3 years ago. Kiwi movies. There's like Kiwi, as in from New Zealand. That's our slang for New Zealanders. Yeah. There's a movie about the race cars. It's called the Indian or the Last Indian or something like that. That was really good.
Okay.
Yeah, honestly, I'm drawing a blank, but we don't have many movies, but we have a few good ones.
Yeah,
and funny enough,
quality over quantity.
Yeah. But we just don't have the industry. We don't have the massive industry like Hollywood.
Yeah,
your next door neighbors over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, what would you say to that badly impersonated accent question with the film stock? If you could actually create an ideal film stock, like let's say you could combine, like I would take the reds of Ektar and the 400 speed of Portra with the dynamic range of like whatever, like would you actually have an ideal film stock in that sense?
You want to create like a hybrid film stock like they did in Jurassic World?
Did they do that?
They created a hybrid dinosaur, and it went poorly. Yeah. So I don't know if this is a good idea.
It's probably not a good idea. But it's more what are your favorite films and the characteristics of a few different films? Because I know you like shooting, night stuff in terms of Cine Still maybe and Lomo 800, but you also have a lot of daytime stuff with realistic colors.
Yeah, I really like Portra 400 because the dynamic range and the ability to overexpose it. I know everyone's sick of hearing me say overexpose, but the ability to overexpose it and still keep pretty much all of your detail is incredible. Yeah. I recently just shot a film, and I think it's easily one of my favorites. It's called FPP Retrochrome, the Film Photography Project, Retrochrome.
Right.
And it just produces these crazy colors.
Is it slide? Is it chrome film or like?
Yeah, it's slide. Right. It's expired government Ektachrome. I'm doing a video on it. I just haven't started it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've shot it. You said you like it too, and I've shot it in the past. It was Variochrome, Rolly.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
That's
so it's the same thing. Yeah, that was really nice.
I think so. I think it's the same thing. It's beautiful. It
was a bit yellow, like yellow green.
Yep.
And I wasn't a huge fan of how far it did lean towards that, but it's something you could probably correct if you wanted to.
Yeah, I like it if you don't correct it. I think the colors and the saturation on everything just looks amazing. So I would probably take that film, but it's very grainy because it's expired Ektachrome. I would take that, get rid of the grain, maybe add some more dynamic range like you have with Portra, and that would be my super hybrid film.
Nice.
That I would create.
That's a good answer, man. Like, it's funny because like slide film has some of the best colors, and it makes me think, wouldn't it be cool to take something like Kodachrome, which was probably like 64 speed, and combine that, with something like the...
I'll change my answer. I have this dream to shoot Kodachrome, but obviously you can't nowadays. So I'd say Kodachrome and like 400 speed. Yeah, that's the perfect.
That would be cool. What I'm actually trying to do, I've got a roll of Ektachrome in my camera at the moment in my Nikon, and what I've heard about Kodachrome is a lot of it was in the process, and obviously what the subject is that the person was shooting, and that you can almost try and replicate that by doing something like push processing, and then maybe push, underexpose, push a little bit, play with filters, scan it, convert it to CMYK. Like, you can mess around because you can replicate that lesser color range, because if anything, Kodak Ektachrome had a a smaller range of color, and that's why it has this sort of like painterly look to it in a way, but in a really beautiful organic way too. But
are you is this your way of telling me you're becoming a slide film person?
Well, I've always been into slide film. One of my favorite films is Velvia 50. It's just I don't shoot it as much because it's not as versatile. But I have like a lot of slides that I actually project and that are, you know,
oh wow,
some that are not mounted that I have in just sleeves and whatever. I love slide film, man. It's the colors. It's all just in the colors.
It's crazy. Yeah. Have you ever shot? Sorry if it's escaping me. Have you ever shot 4x5 slide film?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, you have. Okay, yeah.
It's beautiful.
I thought you had.
Yeah. I still have some in my fridge because I gave back the camera that I borrowed, that I told you about earlier, and I still have some leftover Provia. And just looking at a slide, like, dude, if you get the chance to shoot it in 8x10, have you ever seen an 8x10 positive? Yeah.
No. That's the goal.
It's really cool.
That probably has so much resolution. You can project it on like the tallest skyscraper out here in LA and still, you know.
Yeah, dude. I'm looking forward to the video where you do that. That'll be awesome. All right. So, well, actually, we were talking a little bit about slide film and how I was shooting in the FE. What do you have in your camera at the moment? What are you shooting right now?
The only camera that has film right now is a my Mamiya 7 has a roll of Portra 400 in it for tomorrow.
That camera's your baby, isn't it? It's your number one.
I love it.
Yeah.
Dude, let me ask you something. Tell me straight up, what's it like to hold and use an X-Pan?
Oh man, it feels like a smooth little brick. It's nice. So I never owned one. The funny story about that camera was that I managed to borrow it before I even knew much about it, because I had a friend who was starting to get into film, you know, at around the same time, but he was really into alternative stuff in X-Pan, and he managed to buy one from Canada for a good price, which at the time was about 2,000 Australian dollars. That's about 1,500 US. And he got it, and it was a really like good condition X-Pan, but it without the chipping paint. Whoever had it must have stripped the paint down and painted it with the champagne color from the Fuji version of the X-Pan. Yeah. And I was like, what is this? All right, cool. Yeah. Oh, Panorama, whatever. Oh, sure. He's like, do you want to borrow it? You can use it, and you can make a video on it.
Can't say no to that.
Yeah. And that was one of the earliest videos on the channel, like, you know, 3 years ago. So I used
I've been watching. Been watching your every move.
Yeah, and like Nick, my friend, used it. We both tried to shoot on it, and he was more familiar, but I just didn't really do it justice, I think. I didn't really shoot enough on it. I didn't know how to use Panorama. Like, I still don't know how to use Panorama, but I feel like I'm a bit better now. You know, I've watched like every Nick Carver video, so, you know, I think I have a better idea of the way to use Panorama.
After using it, do you ever just like wake up from a nightmare or something and you're like, dude, I have to have one?
Look, to be honest, man, I was never that like obsessed with it. I think it's cool, but I don't think I'm someone who, I don't know, I love the idea of Panorama, but I was never like, oh my God, I want an X-Pan. Because I know a lot of people, you know, lost after one, but to me it was really cool, but I can't justify that price.
Yeah, that's the problem.
If I saw one
for me too,
for like, you know, $500 or whatever, or $1,000, like, sure, I'll buy that, because that's what I feel like a secondhand camera of that age is really worth. You know, but unless it's something that you really would get a lot of use out of, then to you it would be worth so much more than that. But I wouldn't use it much. Yeah. That's it's nice though.
It's been kind of a roller coaster of emotions for me with that camera. I go from like, I really want one, that'd be so cool to shoot Panorama, to no, it's so goddamn expensive. And like, how do you even share that? It's like really awkward to share it on like a lot of the traditional formats like Instagram, or like, I don't even,
in print is nicest, I think.
Print would probably be the best, but like it's kind of a weird format, so I would imagine finding frames and stuff for that might be kind of tricky. I don't know. I
think if you print books and zines, like my you know, there's another YouTuber, a guy I've met, his name is Robin Shimko. He's the channel The Real Sir Robin. So I've got both of his zines. He shot on the X-Pan. He calls them extra wide 1 and 2, and he does amazing work on that. And he has the camera work in the favor of his style, which is street photography, whereas other people use it for amazing landscape work. And you've got guys like you know, Jeff Bridges, man, like he's the king of the Panorama. He doesn't shoot an X-Pan, but he has like the, what is it, wide lux?
Same format.
Yeah, and his
yeah,
books look pretty cool. Like I know you can use it effectively in print.
yeah.
Yeah, or even on a website. Like everything seems to be 16:9 in terms of screens. So
Yeah, I think there are some applications for it. The struggle for me right now is like, is it really worth the price?
I don't think it's worth the price. Yeah, that's my thing. Like it's beautiful to use. It felt a little bit like clunky in terms of its speed and whatever, but it's solid. It's physically quite solid, and it works well. Yeah.
I don't like how electronic it is. Apparently,
exactly.
Like electronics is just gonna fail someday, and that's an expensive failure.
Do you still have a Pentax 6.7?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do what I had a video on it. There's like you can get little panoramic adapters and put 35mm rolls, and it comes out like X-Pan.
Yeah, I've never really looked into that. How does that work? Do you have to rewind it back into the thing though?
Yeah,
right?
That's it. So you can't like go out shoot multiple rolls unless you have a dark bag. But once you finish it, you have to go home, open the camera in a dark bag, and like wind it back into the film cam. Yeah, but it's worth like do it once or twice and see how, because the beauty is you don't get the vignetting as well. You can shoot
that makes sense,
all those 35mm stocks that you can't get in 120, Color Plus, Fuji, whatever.
Did you get like a little mat for your screen too to like show you what you're
I just cut one out of paper.
Okay.
Yeah, I just got some black paper and then put it over because the beauty of the 6.7 is you just take the prism off, put the mask in there, and that's it. Yeah. Check it out. It might be maybe because it'll probably just like it'll be like the methadone to your heroin sort of thing. Like you want the heroin, but there's no X-Pan. You shoot the 6.7 and get a little.
Right now, I'm kind of on like a I don't need it kick. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
It's too much. There's like I could buy like 3 other cameras that I really want for the same price of just that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know if I'll really like it.
Yeah.
So
I'd love to tell you that, you got to get one, go buy it, just do it. But like, there's so many things I think you could spend that money on that you would get more.
I'm glad that you didn't.
Yeah.
Because then I'd be researching it like hell tomorrow.
Yeah. Like try and borrow one or something. But like, it's one of those cameras I feel like unless you really shoot it prolifically and you know your thing is panoramas, I don't know if it's really worth it.
Hey, I got a question for you. What's that? So the X-Pan is like that legendary camera. I've seen a lot of cameras just like out in the wild when I go out to shoot with people or whatever. The X-Pan is one that I've just never seen. No one's ever had it or anything like that. Do you have any cameras that you've like never seen that have only existed in legend?
Oh shit.
I haven't even seen it in stores or anything.
Yeah.
Like some old photography stores will have like, I've seen Mamiya 7s for sale and stuff like that, but never.
I don't know because the thing is, I used to work at a camera store. It's like the biggest camera store in the Southern Hemisphere. Well, they've actually had to shut down now because of the pandemic, but we used to have it was a huge store, physically really big. It's sort of like the Australian version of B&H, so it's probably like a baby B&H photo. And there was a big secondhand section as well, and in the window we'd always have all these secondhand cameras. So I feel like I'd seen almost everything come through, including multiple X-Pans and all that. But like maybe a wide lux or something really unusual like that. But we even had a camera museum there. So like if you're ever in Australia, there was a museum with almost every legendary old camera. So I'm lucky in that I've seen almost every one of those old cameras that have ever been made.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah. The camera museum.
I'd love to see an X-Pan.
Yeah. Cool. So I think that is. I'm just going through my notes here, which are very, very messy, if you could see them.
I can't.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Like, I was going to ask one last thing. When all this stuff is finished, do you have any plans to travel again? Because you did Nepal. I'm sure you've traveled to a few other places. You're about to head somewhere domestically tomorrow. Where would you go once you're allowed to travel again?
Monica and I have a plan next year to go to Japan.
Ooh.
But I guess they moved the Olympics to next year, so don't really want to go when it's going to be like crazy crowded or anything
during
like
Olympics. That. Yeah. I mean, maybe you can go unless like the shoulder season before, before
like
it starts,
November or something.
Yeah. Have you been to Japan before?
No, I haven't.
Oh, dude, it's
have
amazing.
You?
Yeah. Okay, I mean, that's the one place I've been to more than anywhere else in the world. I've been there like 4 times or something.
Damn, dude, I'll have to hit you up for some tips.
Oh, for sure, man. Photography wise, you'll love it as well. And because you're into like, pop culture and gaming and stuff like that, I think you'll like it on so many levels as well.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go back
Sweet.
to Nepal since we did our trip too, but
Yeah.
haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah,
What about you?
Nepal's
What are you?
beautiful.
Where are you gonna go?
Well, I wanted to go to Canada before we started.
Why
Yeah,
Canada?
I don't know, like Canada, because of, I see all those pictures of like Lake Louise and Banff and the mountains and all
Oh
that
yeah,
beautiful landscape and stuff, and it just looks
yeah.
so peaceful. And
Canada's
like
beautiful.
if
Yeah.
if I did Canada with Sarah, we were talking about like doing Canada and then heading down into the US and doing the whole the cliche of renting a car and driving across the country, which I think would be really cool, starting up in New York and then working our way down across to LA. But yeah, Canada would be a cool starting point. I love snow. I love the cold.
Okay, me too.
Yeah, snowboarding would be cool in Canada.
Okay.
So there was that. A lot of other countries though. Like I have a growing list, and I've been to Japan so many times, and as tempting as it is to go back there again, there's other countries that I'd love to go to, like Morocco and Egypt and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Egypt's beautiful. Yeah, I
You've
went
been
there a
there?
long time ago.
Oh, dude,
yeah.
that's cool. Is there anywhere where you would go and do like, like a series, or somewhere where you would just be purely focused on photography? Where would you go if you could do that? Like to document the place or the people. I guess like maybe Nepal could even be.
Yeah.
Because you kind of started
the
that.
go-to answer is like Iceland, because for me Iceland is like the hub for just beauty, landscape beauty. I love shooting it, but oh, you know what? I'd love to go to the Faroe Islands. That's I really.
Where is that?
It's it's like between Iceland and the UK.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere.
So
yeah,
somewhere cold by the sounds.
Yeah,
of it.
it's pretty cold there. Yeah, you should look it up. It's so goddamn beautiful. If you're into landscape photography, that's like a good spot to go, I think. But
I've never been to Europe, so like, and Iceland.
Oh, really?
Definitely would put that on my list as well, man. I've never been to Europe. One day, that'll be cool. Would you ever go to Australia?
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Yeah.
My brother went there. Yeah, my brother went there last year.
Yeah.
Or was it? Yeah, I think it was last year. And he saw like a spider there just hanging off this like lamppost that was. He said it was huge. Yeah. I don't know if he's like joking or not, but yeah. I'm not very good with insects, but I do really want to go to Australia.
It's funny, man, because that's one of the first things people bring up, and like on a daily basis, I never really see many insects at all, especially if you live in the suburbs. Really? But like, sure, we probably have a larger range of like wildlife and insects and stuff, but on a daily basis, you don't really see them.
Yeah, I figured, but
especially if
better
you're
safe
in
than
populated. Sorry.
No,
drop bears are the things you want to watch out for, though. So
koalas.
Yeah.
Well, why?
There's like no, not koalas. There's like a joke people play on each other where there's like an imaginary creature called a drop bear, but it's not real. It's just like fictional. Koalas are pretty tame. They can scratch you up apparently.
We have actual bears here in California.
Yeah, see, you got that, and you got like those mountain lions and shit.
Yeah,
like
mountain lions, cougars,
going for a jog and then get
coyotes.
Eaten by a mountain lion up there. We don't have that.
Yeah, that doesn't really happen though. It's mostly like people's cats or dogs getting eaten. Yeah,
right. Which part of California do you live in?
I'm in Los Angeles, so Southern
you're in the
California.
Yeah,
I'm from Northern California though.
Yeah, right.
So I've seen the whole state pretty much at this point.
Cool.
Yeah, you should come.
I will, man. Like one day.
Come through sometime.
Yeah, I'll let you roast me for the
we'll do 10 questions.
Segment, 10 questions.
We'll make it happen.
Day. When we can travel again, I definitely plan to make a trip up to the US one time.
All right. Well, let me know when you swing through. I'll let you know if I come to Australia too.
For sure, man. You can come and sleep on the couch.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Right back at you.
Well, before we close things off, just for anyone watching, where can they find your work? I'll put your Instagram. I'll have your Instagram 50 Shades of Jason on the screen here. So if you want, you can like gesture wherever you want to gesture, or maybe down
right there,
just here, there, whatever.
Oh, there.
But where else would you like people to go to see your work and what you've been up to?
If you want to see my photography work, it's definitely I share it mostly on my Instagram. So my Instagram is 50 Shades of Jason with underscores in between each word. Yeah. And then my YouTube channel is Grainydays, all one word.
Cool.
And
you've been on a few podcasts. Really. You obviously did Analog Talk, and anything else where people can go and listen to a bit more
Not,
insight?
not lately. I don't think. No.
Cool. And
Forget.
what's next for Jason? What are you working on for the future?
So like the next video or the next?
Yeah, a bit of next video. What are your plans for the channel?
I did a video. So the next video is a road trip I did with Caleb.
Yeah.
We did it back in March before COVID really heated up, and it's to the Sierra Mountains here in California. Very beautiful area. I think it's one of my favorite videos I've done.
Cool.
It's like 22 minutes long, I think, but that's
awesome,
the next
man.
one.
When's it coming out?
A week from tomorrow.
All right. Well, I will have put this up already. So,
okay. So
subscribe to Jason's channel, to Grainydays.
Yeah.
And
the 20th.
And then I'm sure when he launches that video, you guys can all check it out. Thanks for having a chat to me, man. This has been great.
Thanks for having me on, man.
All right.
I really appreciate it. We'll have to do it again sometime soon.
For sure. Thanks for watching, guys. All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed that chat with Jason from Grainydays. I really enjoyed meeting him for that first time, having a chat, sharing some personal interests. And it's something that I want to hopefully continue to do on this channel going forward. I've done one in conversation episode before, which was with Jay Rose, based over in London. I think a great aspect of this film photography community is that we're all quite connected. We sometimes interact on other social media platforms, but I feel like these video chats are a great way to go a step further and gain a little bit of each other's insight. So I'd like to thank Jason again for that chat. And as I mentioned in my last video, I also started a Discord server for Pushing Film. So that's another great way to get into this aspect of community, connect with other film photographers, share your knowledge, get feedback on your photography, technical information, share your photos, whatever it might be. It's just a way to take another step further from the usual sort of Instagram and similar ways of connecting. So I'll put an invite link to that Discord server in the description of this video. Remember to check out Jason's channel if you're not already subscribed to him, and his Instagram. Thanks for watching another episode of Pushing Film, and I'll see you on the next one.